Hey guys, welcome back to the Ginger Realtor Meets. Today we are with Cece from Spring Rains of Hope. Spring Rains of Life. These guys are operating a non-profit out here in Three Bridges. I tried to find Four Bridges, it wasn't there. And they do a lot of work with veterans with PTSD and do a lot of equine therapy, I think is the best way to put it. Cece, thank you very much for taking the time to meet with me.
Thank you for jumping to come down here and do this. It's really great to be able to get the word out because we're usually busy trying to fundraise and taking care of the animals and doing the work. So it's hard to advocate. It's hard to get out there and make yourself known.
So let's just jump straight in and let the people at home and on the internet tell them about what it is you do, and a lot better than what I did, because obviously I only know a little bit about what you do, but let everybody else know what it is exactly that you guys do.
Sure. Okay. So Spring Rains of Life is a nonprofit. It's a public charity, 501c3. We are in a GALA model program. See my hat, a GALA. A GALA is our certifying body. They're international, and they're in all 50 states and over 50 countries. So we follow a format and are certified under that format, which is a GALA, and so I should say what it stands for. A GALA stands for the Equine Growth and Learning Association, so it's basically what we do. For the nonprofit, Spring Rains of Life, we perform equine-assisted psychotherapy. That gets shortened down to EAP. And what that is it's a form of mental health or emotional health, well-being therapy, where we utilize horses as our main vehicle to get to our goal. We do have a licensed mental health professional in the arena with us at all times. I work with two different ones. One that is a veteran and who specializes in veterans and PTSD, and another one who specializes in teens. She's an LCSW. So I work with Maria Katsamanis, who's a PsyD. She's our veteran. And then Erin Rahan, LCSW, who specializes in teens. We work with a lot of at-risk and high-risk teenagers. So that's our core population. It's essentially trauma groups. We work in a group format so that we can cover as much as we can for the money we have. But it also seems to help the clients to be in a group of peers, if you will. And trauma is really interesting in that, veterans don't want to talk about it. Teenagers refuse to talk about it. And we also do work with a small population of children who've had a loss. And children who are 6 years old who lost their mother don't have the vocabulary to talk about it. So no one really wants to talk about it, the trauma. And the horses don't talk. So it makes it sort of a nice ground for them to meet on and have it not be about words. It's about being present. It's about establishing coping skills, personalized coping skills. So we don't ride. That confuses people a lot when we say we don't do any riding. So essentially we have horses that are loose in the arena with our clients, and it's not about horsemanship, it's about life. It's about figuring out life and your life as it is in the present. And then we start to make these links. The horses, I sound woo-woo when I start to say this, but the horses somehow know what to do. They're able to read emotion, they're able to read body language and feelings, and so they're able to, I think, pick up on what's going on for each person in the group or the group as a whole, and therefore bring some things to light that might need to happen in order for healing to take place.
That's fantastic.
It's kind of a weird summary, but it's the best way I can explain it, because without seeing it, which it's hard for people to see because we're HIPAA. So because we work with mental health, no one can watch our sessions. It's private.
So tell me a little bit about your non-human staff.
Yes, okay, so we currently have 4 horses and 3 donkeys. And they basically do the core of our work. We do have access to more horses on our farm that I've assessed, and I can hire if need be, if we really got so busy and so funded that we could serve a lot of people at once. But right now we basically do 2 veterans groups a week and 1 at-risk teen group a week. It's a little slower in January and February because it's cold. But that's our norm. In the summer we kind of get busy with maybe 3 or 4 teen groups a week and 2 veterans groups a week. So
okay. So veterans and teens, you have 4 horses, you've got 3 donkeys, there are goats that are running around, and we have a miniature horse as well.
Yes, we have our mascot, the farm mascot. He does not belong to me. But the farm mascot is Crazy Legs, who's in the background there. He sort of just does whatever he wants. Sometimes he's part of our sessions, but you know what I will say, Crazy Legs almost always greets the van. I say the van because a lot of our clients come in a van. He will be waiting for them as they open the door. There'll be this horse there, and they just arrived to the horse farm for horse therapy, so it's perfect.
Now, I was here last year in March, as you remember. We had your original horse that started this whole thing off. If you can try and keep it together for me. Look, I know Spring was a very special horse for you. I know it was recognized by the state. So why don't you tell people a little bit who are watching a little bit about Spring, why you decided to do this, and then tell them about the award.
Sure. Okay, so I had an Appaloosa, a thoroughbred Appaloosa in my life that for 21 years, and for the first 12 of those years we rode. We did eventing and we competed, and I thought I was doing this awesome horse thing. I was having fun, right? But the whole time I had this feeling that he wasn't just a horse, or that sounds weird, but he was more than just a horse, I guess I should say. And he became my lifetime horse. He became my heart horse. He became the horse that really shaped and guided my life into doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So, see, I was working a corporate job in New York to afford a horse habit, to have fun doing all that. And that wasn't really what I was supposed to do. So when he retired from competing, he got really sick, and he brought me to a holistic veterinarian through a lot of other veterinarians. He brought me eventually to this veterinarian named Dr. Judith Shoemaker. She's based in Pennsylvania. And she healed him. He was very sick with chronic Lyme. She healed him without the conventional methods because those didn't work. And at the end of our first meeting, she said, "You need to look up a Gala because this horse is an EAP horse." And I thought she had 4 heads and 2, I was like, I didn't know her at the time, and I was like, she's nuts. So I said, okay, and I went about getting my horse well, and then when he got well, I wrote back to her and I said, "What was that you told me to look up?" And she told me again, and I looked it up, and that night I pulled out my credit card, which I don't have any anymore, but I pulled out my credit card that night and I paid for both certification 1 and 2 that you needed to be certified on the spot. I read their website and I signed up to be certified that minute. I'm a Capricorn. I don't do things impulsively like that.
Okay.
So when I put my wallet away, I kind of thought, I just spent like $1,400. I don't even know what it's for. What am I doing? Okay, so fast forward 12 years. So this horse is the reason that this all happened. This horse and this doctor, this veterinarian, together. So we started a Gala, the program. I named it after him. Spring Rains of Life is named after Spring Thaw, the horse. He basically guided all of this. And mainly, I will say, when I say guided, I called him Jedi Horse for many years because one of our teenagers named him that. Because he was, I guess, eerily or spookily guiding this team through some steps that no one else in the world could know. And yet this horse knew all the buttons to push. He was a button pusher. He knew all of the buttons to push to get this kid to realize where he needed to be. And he said at the end of the 5 weeks that they came, he said, "Is that a Jedi horse or something?" And I was like, "I don't know, maybe." And then later I thought about it and I was like, maybe he is, because he kind of did it to me. And I watched him do it to over 700 veterans, over 1,200 teenagers, and about 135 children grieving. He didn't do layers. He didn't work on layers. He just went right to the gut of it, or right to the festering, abscessing, trauma-based wound, and said, "I can help you with that, and here's what we can do." And he didn't say that, obviously, but he did it in his horse way. And sometimes people would shy away from that because it was too close to home, and they'd go, "Keep him away from me," or "I don't like that horse," or whatever. And sometimes they'd say, "How does he know that?" And, all right, if he really knows that, then I guess I'll try. So I had many people reach out after he passed away January 20th last year. And I had many people reach out when they heard the news that I didn't know were so affected by him. I had so many people come forward, and I realized that at that point, he was no longer my horse. He was everybody's horse. And he had touched thousands of lives that I wasn't really counting as we went along, but when it kind of ended, I thought, I didn't realize how many
Because obviously
people-
it's not just going to be the lives of the individuals he's touched, it's the people out there touching on a daily basis
Yes.
who
Their
are
family,
able,
their wife, their husband,
Yeah.
their parents, their sister, brother, etc. Yes, that's true. At any rate, so after he passed, 4 days after he died, actually, I found out that he'd been nominated and won a National Medal of Honor from the VA. The VA system had a chance to nominate an animal for animal therapy, and they nominated him, and he made it all the way up the ranks to national level, and he was one of 15 animals in the entire country, the only animal in New Jersey. That's dog, cat, horse, whatever, all animal therapy. Service animal, I guess they called it. And he won, and they wanted to bring the award to the farm to do to give it to him, and I had to tell them that 4 days before that he had passed away. And so they said, okay, well, we can still do something in honorarium or posthumously. And so I said, okay. So I said, well, you know what? This is my heart horse. He did all of this whole program. I want to make it as big as I can because it's the last thing I can do with him. And so I started reaching out to, community leaders in the state, and we had a state senator, Senator Bateman came, Leonard Lance, who was our congressman at that time, he couldn't make it, but he sent a representative. Leonard Lance flew a flag over the nation's capital for this horse on February 22nd, 2018. I had to have one of our board members call his office and say, are you sure you know this is a horse? Because he did not have dog tags. And his office responded saying, yes, we know he's a horse, but he didn't have dog tags, but he helped many who did. And so, and the day of the ceremony, which was a funeral, a 31st birthday, because it would have been his 31st birthday on March 20th, and an award ceremony all at once. We had 100 people here in the freezing cold.
It was very cold.
Gavin was here.
I will attest to that.
It was 29 degrees on the first day of spring. But I had two veterans show up in full dress. Mm-hmm. And one of them, I know it was special for him to do that. It meant something for him to do that. So it just touched me in ways that I couldn't imagine, not just because of this horse. I mean, yes, because of this horse. It was all because of this horse. But what it also said to me was that this work, the work that we do matters, and it has to continue. And I'll be honest, after he passed, I sort of felt like I'd lost my ground.
Question, Joe, whether you could go on?
He was like my rock and my post. Like, I'd walk into the arena with him knowing, I don't care what happens in here because I've got a Jedi horse. And not to diminish the other horses, because every horse in this barn has saved lives, has made magical changes for people. So I'm not putting them lower than. It's just I think he kind of helped them learn.
But he was your first. He was the one that started it off.
And he was the one I trusted, and I knew I could handle anything because of him. And so when he left, I sort of thought, yikes, this is different now. And it is different, but it's good still. So right before this horse passed, literally minutes before he passed, I made a promise to him. And I think I did that instinctually because I knew I was going to be in a bad way after he was gone. I promised him that I would make him proud of us, all of us. And I realize that's sort of ambiguous because I don't really know how I'm going to know that he's proud. But I did that so that I knew that I would be able to stay the course, because if I would not break a promise to him. So anyway, but he's with me every day. I had him cremated, and so there's some of his ashes in this necklace, and I wear it every day. And his halter sits on that, hook.
Let me just step back. Which hook are we looking at?
So these halters belong to the horses, but this halter and lead rope was his. So it just hangs here just to sort of have a reminder.
So he's always here.
A reminder that he's in the barn. And every now and then the halter will end up in session on one of the horses, and by accident I just kind of look at it and go, oh look, Spring's in the arena today.
So look, I know as a charity you rely on donations and fundraising. And you told me you have a fundraiser coming up. So let's tell everybody here about the fundraiser. We'll circulate around social media. So tell them about what's going on in March.
Okay. Well, every year in March we have an annual event. It's the Saturday closest to March 20th. This year we're not actually doing a fundraiser. We normally do one every single year to try to raise as much money as we can in one night to help fund all of this. We're not a big enough nonprofit to get like huge grants from federal, and like huge grants. We don't qualify because we're not big enough. Yet we're still serving every all year, every year. So we rely on public and private generosity, and now with the tax laws, it's been a little bit tougher this year
Okay.
because we relied on a lot of little donations that people would do for their tax deduction. And that's not needed now, so we haven't gotten as much as we usually would. We've sort of seen a dent. And we're short of volunteers right now for like event volunteers to do an event, so we decided we couldn't really pull off a fundraiser this year that would be successful. So what we're doing is we're having an appreciation dinner, and it's basically to thank everyone who's helped us, all of our volunteers, our donors, in the past donors, people who advocate for this work, our facilitators, our mental health professionals, the people who really make all this possible, the people who come and help volunteer to take care of the horses. Because everything, I didn't say that in the beginning, but everything is volunteer run here. We don't have any paid positions. We pay our facilitators by the hour.
Okay.
When they go in the arena, that's it. No one has a salary, no one, and so we're volunteer run, which we need volunteers. We're always looking for not just barn, but like administrative.
So let's stop for a second, okay? We're in Three Bridges. Now, most of the people who watch this won't have a clue where Three Bridges is.
Right, near
So-
Flemington.
So I think we're about 5 miles from Flemington. We're right off Route 202, was it, that we came up?
Yes, very easy to get here.
So if you're a high school senior or you're a college junior who's looking for extra stuff to kind of look good on your applications and things like that, you should definitely give these guys a reach out to them. And we'll make sure that right about here will be contact information so you can reach out to CC and you can find out what you can do to help.
So March, yes, thank you. And that's part of this dinner that we're having is about that. It's for advocacy, it's to let the community know that we're here. I realized the other day, that, or a couple of weeks ago, that there's a lot of people in our area that don't know we're here. So that's a problem. We need to get out there. And so on March 23rd, we're having a dinner. It's an appreciation dinner. We do have one comedian coming who's donating his time, Tom Briscoe. We have an MC, and we're going to have some, testimonials. We have a couple veterans that are willing to speak about this and why it works. We have some great videos to show to explain and show this work, because a lot of people go, I don't get it. So we're trying to make it it's an Italian buffet, all you can eat, $15. You can't beat that. Kids are half price. So
Now, for those people who may be out of the area, who maybe want to donate, are you accepting donation plates and then they don't have to come up?
yes, so if you go to our site, there's on our website, which is springrainsoflife.org, yes, okay. There's an event that has this event listed, and it takes you to a place to buy tickets online. On that, in the online place where you get the tickets, it says buy a ticket $15, but then there's another option that says I can't attend, but I'm donating anyway, and that amount is open.
Okay.
You could donate $5, or if you wanted to donate more, that'd be great, but
$1 million would be really useful.
yeah.
So, we're not far from Flemington. You're doing some phenomenal work. You have an award-winning horse who started it all off. If you could reach out to people out there right now and tell them what the one thing you need more than anything else is, what would that be?
Well, I guess the answer is always funding, because as quickly as we get funding in, we roll through it, because we have waiting lists, basically. I mean, they're not official waiting lists, but we have programs out there that would come here if we could say, hey, come on, we've got the money. So funding is always number one. But I guess I'd say in addressing our current needs at this moment, we do need support, and we need support in other ways than just money. We've got a mud bath outside that I'm looking at right now. I need gravel. I need like a way to keep our clients' feet and our horses and donkeys' feet out of the mud. Also, maybe could use less rain. But
Well, the rain we can't help you
yes,
with.
I understand.
But
that,
I'm sure that of all the contractors that I've worked with over the years, all the guys I know through organizations like NGRASN, there must be someone who has a connection with a gravel guy who can reach out to me, who may be prepared to either fund the gravel that the guys need, or the gravel guy might want to donate as a tax write-off. So if that's the case, reach out to me directly. I'll speak with CC and
we
we'll
need
sort
a
something out.
roofer. We need a roofer. Our roof leaks. The roof is caving in an area, not caving in, but it's got some problems. This is an old barn. It's a 50-plus-year-old barn, but not that we get the roof donated, but it would be great if we had someone.
No, let's not. Look, we need a roof. Guys, if you know, I've got lots of realtor friends who are well connected within the towns that they live in.
Even if it could be discounted.
See, even within my office, I know people who are connected to state senators, to mayors of big towns. There has to be a way that we can raise awareness for your organization where we can get you everything you need. Because if there's one thing as an Englishman that I love about this country, is it's how high esteem you hold your veterans in. And if we can help you impact more veterans' lives in a positive way, then that's what we want to do. So I'm calling out to everybody on my Facebook, on my Instagram, in my sphere. If you want to be able to help out a phenomenal charity with a great mission, who are helping those people who put their lives on the line for this great country, then I want to hear from you, and let's see what we can do to help these guys out. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Now, normally I do a handshake, but this is a hug day.
Oh, thank you so much.
So guys, this is me, Gavin Frater, the Ginger Realtor. It's the episode of the Ginger Realtor Meets. I know I said it was going to be a candy shop. I'm sorry, but this one I just couldn't turn down. We will see you all next week. Thank you very much.